Flourless chocolate cake is the kind of dessert that instantly feels luxurious, elegant, rich, and unforgettable. If you are looking for a chocolate recipe that looks premium, tastes incredibly indulgent, and feels like it came straight from a high-end bakery or cafe, then this cake is a perfect choice. It is soft, moist, airy, creamy, glossy, and deeply chocolatey in every bite. The best part is that this cake is made without flour, yet it still has a beautiful sponge texture that feels light and delicate while remaining rich and satisfying. This type of dessert is especially loved in the USA because American dessert lovers often enjoy recipes that are not only delicious but also visually impressive. A cake like this fits perfectly for Sunday family dessert tables, birthday celebrations, tea parties, dinner gatherings, potluck events, and even holiday menus. In the United States, desserts that combine rich flavor with elegant presentation are always popular, and this flourless chocolate cake delivers both beautifully. It has everything people love in a premium chocolate dessert: a soft sponge, creamy filling, moisture from cocoa syrup, and a glossy chocolate glaze that makes the final result look absolutely stunning. One of the most special things about this cake is its texture. Since it does not contain flour, it feels much lighter and silkier than a traditional chocolate cake. Instead of being heavy or dry, it has a delicate softness that almost melts in your mouth. It is rich without being too dense and sweet without being overpowering. That balance is exactly why flourless cakes are so admired. They feel more refined, more elegant, and often more luxurious than ordinary cakes. The foundation of this cake begins with dark chocolate, unsalted butter, and milk. These three ingredients create the rich chocolate base that gives the sponge its signature flavor. The dark chocolate brings a deep cocoa taste that makes the cake feel sophisticated and bold. The butter adds smoothness and richness, while the milk helps bring everything together into a silky, glossy mixture. When melted properly, these ingredients create the heart of the cake, and that chocolate aroma alone is enough to make anyone excited for the final result. Eggs are the true structure builders in this recipe, and they play an extremely important role. This cake uses 4 egg whites and 4 egg yolks, and each part serves a different purpose. The egg yolks bring richness, softness, and a smooth body to the batter. The egg whites, on the other hand, are what make the cake airy and light. They are whipped with a pinch of salt and sugar until they form a glossy meringue. This whipped egg white mixture is what gives the cake lift and softness, replacing the role that flour usually plays in a regular cake recipe. Vanilla extract is also added to the egg yolks, and although it may seem like a small ingredient, it makes a big difference in flavor. Vanilla adds warmth and a bakery-style aroma that blends beautifully with the chocolate. Once the chocolate mixture cools slightly, the egg yolks are mixed into it, creating a rich and smooth base. After that, the whipped egg whites are gently folded in. This is one of the most important steps in the recipe because folding carefully helps preserve the air inside the batter. That air is what keeps the sponge soft, fluffy, and delicate after baking. Once the batter is ready, it is spread into a 38 by 26 centimeters or 15 by 10 inch pan. This size is ideal because it creates a cake that is not too thick and not too thin, making it perfect for layering and filling. The cake is then baked at 170 degrees Celsius for about 20 minutes. It does not need a long baking time, which is one of the reasons this recipe is so appealing. During baking, the sponge rises gently and develops a tender, soft texture. Because there is no flour, the cake stays moist and does not become dry or crumbly like some traditional sponge cakes. After baking, the cake needs to cool completely before moving on to the next step. This is very important because warm cake can melt the filling and make the assembly messy. A truly elegant dessert always requires a little patience, and allowing the cake to cool properly is part of what helps it turn out beautifully in the end. Now comes one of the most irresistible parts of the recipe, the chocolate cream filling. This filling is what transforms the cake from a simple sponge into a luxurious layered dessert. It is made with dark chocolate, heavy cream, cold heavy cream, and sugar. The process begins by pouring warm heavy cream over chopped dark chocolate to create a silky ganache. This ganache forms the rich chocolate base of the filling. Once it cools, cold heavy cream and sugar are whipped until light and fluffy, then combined with the ganache to create a smooth, creamy, mousse-like chocolate filling. This filling is incredibly delicious because it has the richness of chocolate mousse and the lightness of whipped cream at the same time. It is not too heavy, not too sweet, and not too thick. It spreads beautifully over the sponge and creates a soft, creamy layer that makes every bite feel luxurious. In the USA, desserts with smooth cream fillings are especially popular because they add that bakery-style quality people love. When you slice into this cake and see the creamy chocolate layer inside, it instantly gives a premium professional look. Another key part of this cake is the cocoa syrup. It may seem like a small detail, but it plays a major role in the final texture and flavor. The syrup is made with hot water, cocoa powder, and sugar mixed until fully dissolved and then cooled completely. This syrup is brushed over the sponge to add moisture and enhance the chocolate flavor. It keeps the cake soft and prevents it from drying out, especially if the cake is served chilled or made in advance. This technique is very common in bakery-style cakes because it creates a more refined and polished result. In many American-style layered cakes and sheet cakes, syrup brushing is one of the secrets behind that soft, moist texture that people love so much. It does not make the cake soggy. Instead, it gives it a tender, juicy bite and deepens the cocoa taste throughout the sponge. Once the sponge is cooled and brushed with cocoa syrup, it is time to spread the chocolate cream filling. This is where the cake really starts to look impressive. The filling should be spread evenly and generously so that every slice has a beautiful balance of sponge and cream. Depending on how you want to present it, the cake can be layered, folded, or assembled in a sheet-style format. No matter which style you choose, the result is elegant and visually satisfying. Then comes the final and most glamorous part of the recipe, the chocolate glaze. This is what gives the cake its shiny, professional, bakery-style finish. The glaze is made with cocoa powder, sugar, water, heavy cream, and gelatin. These ingredients work together to create a smooth, glossy topping that looks absolutely stunning once poured over the cake. The gelatin is first bloomed in cold water, which is an essential step because it helps the gelatin dissolve properly later. Meanwhile, the cocoa powder, sugar, water, and heavy cream are heated together until smooth and glossy. Once the mixture is ready, the bloomed gelatin is stirred in until completely dissolved. The glaze is then cooled slightly until it reaches the perfect pourable consistency. This part requires a little care because the glaze must not be too hot or too cold. If it is too hot, it may melt the cream filling. If it is too cold, it may not spread smoothly. When it reaches the right temperature, it is poured slowly over the assembled cake, creating a beautiful glossy chocolate finish that instantly makes the dessert look elegant and luxurious. This is often the most visually satisfying part of the entire process, especially for YouTube or social media videos. The final look of this cake is absolutely stunning. It has a rich dark chocolate appearance, a smooth shiny glaze, and a soft creamy interior that looks beautiful when sliced. This is exactly the kind of dessert that attracts viewers and makes people want to save the recipe or try it at home. If you are creating food content for YouTube, this recipe has everything needed to perform well visually. Melted chocolate, fluffy batter, creamy filling, syrup brushing, and a glossy glaze pour. These are all the kinds of moments that make baking videos more engaging and satisfying to watch. One of the best things about this flourless chocolate cake is how versatile it is for serving and presentation. You can leave it plain and elegant with just the glossy glaze or decorate it with chocolate curls, cocoa dusting, whipped cream swirls, fresh berries, or even a few gold sprinkles for a luxury finish. In the USA, minimalist dessert styling is very popular, so even a simple glossy chocolate top with clean slices can look extremely sophisticated and high-end. Flavor-wise, this cake is a dream for true chocolate lovers. Every part of it contributes to a complete chocolate experience. The sponge is soft and airy, the filling is creamy and rich, the syrup adds moisture and depth, and the glaze gives a smooth cocoa finish that ties everything together perfectly. Each bite feels balanced, elegant, and indulgent without becoming too heavy. This cake is also ideal for special occasions because it feels celebratory and premium. It is perfect for birthdays, dinner parties, family get-togethers, Valentine's Day, weekend baking, and Sunday desserts. In American households, Sunday desserts are often about comfort and indulgence, and this cake fits that mood beautifully. It feels homemade and comforting, yet polished enough to look like it came from a boutique dessert shop. If served chilled, the filling becomes slightly firmer and more mousse-like, which makes the slices look neat and beautiful. If served closer to room temperature, the chocolate flavors become even more intense and the texture becomes softer and creamier. Both ways are delicious, and it simply depends on the style you prefer. For video content or elegant presentation, chilled slices usually give the cleanest and most attractive look. What makes this recipe truly special is that it proves you do not need flour to make a cake that is soft, rich, beautiful, and unforgettable. With just chocolate, eggs, cream, sugar, butter, milk, cocoa, and a little technique, you can create a dessert that looks and tastes like something from a professional bakery. That is what makes this flourless chocolate cake such a standout recipe. It is more than just a dessert. It is a full chocolate experience. It feels luxurious, tastes indulgent, and looks absolutely beautiful from the first glance to the final bite. If you want a recipe that can impress guests, elevate your baking content, and satisfy serious chocolate cravings all at once, this cake is a perfect choice. For YouTube channels especially, this is exactly the kind of recipe that can attract strong engagement because it combines beauty, simplicity, and indulgence. People love desserts that look expensive but can still be made at home, and this recipe offers exactly that. It is elegant enough for a celebration, comforting enough for a weekend treat, and visually impressive enough to become a standout feature on any baking or food channel. In the end, this flourless chocolate cake is rich, moist, soft, creamy, glossy, and deeply satisfying in every way. It is the kind of dessert that makes people pause after the first bite and immediately want another slice. It feels premium, tastes incredible, and has the kind of visual beauty that makes it unforgettable. If there is one chocolate dessert that truly deserves to be called a homemade bakery masterpiece, it is this one.